Hi, everyone. Welcome back to She's Always On here with Kianna Smith. This is episode 5. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode. Kianna, first, I want to start off with our girl Cam Brink getting hurt with a torn ACL.
Yeah, it was really tough to see. Obviously, she had the Olympics that she prepared for her whole life, and it only comes around once every 4 years. So it was really tough to watch that clip. And I just feel for her. Obviously, we've both been through knee injuries, and it's so tough. But to prepare your whole life for the Olympics and not get that opportunity, I just hope that they still take her to the Olympics and she still gets that experience. But yeah, that's tough.
That's a good point. I do hope she's able to travel with the team and still be a part of it because I know I was watching all those videos where the girls were finding out the news and I'm pretty sure Cameron cried. Like it's just such a special moment and to then I know I tore my ACL 3 times. Not easy and it almost feels like your world is crashing on you and
Yeah.
um
I also
so
feel this exposes the system that rookies have to come in and handle going straight from college straight to the WNBA. It's not easy. And some people go back to back to back seasons when they go overseas. And a lot of people get knee injuries. I know I did, she did, a ton of people do. And
yeah,
as young players, like as they get,
especially women.
yeah. So I think it kind of exposes that system, but in the meantime, I think it would be beneficial if, as they get closer to their senior years and they know, okay, I'm going to the league, maybe I
Yeah.
need to start lifting like a pro. Because I know in college, you lift 3 times a week
Yeah,
during.
what's lifting like a pro? Actually, I want to know.
Yeah. So like in college, or I know at least at my college, when you get into season, you start lifting less. You lift maybe 3 times a week instead of 4 or 5. And I think as the season starts dwindling down,
Yeah.
maybe you need to add more lifts, but not as heavy and just more resistance bands training and stuff.
Functional training.
Yes, you need to. I think they should always build muscle throughout the season and try not to lose that because transitioning from the NCAA straight into the WNBA, it's a tough transition on your body, and these women just may not be prepared.
I also think too that it's probably a little bit of an overload, right? I
Mhm.
mean, maybe you could speak to this better, but did you ever feel when you were playing in the W that you guys were doing a lot or cuz I know I think about college, man, and I'm like, how the heck did I get through a 3-hour practice that did not include our 30-minute warm up and didn't include an individual before practice and then lifting after practice and I was like I to this day, I'm probably like, okay, maybe I did overload myself because, you're always in that mindset of I need to do more because I need to outwork everybody and I need to be the best. But
Yeah.
it's such a hard I don't know, I feel like I always had like this anxiety driven mindset of like trying to be elite, but it almost kind of hurt me too much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but you also have to think that like as a pro, you don't have school anymore. This is your job. So
Yeah.
you have a ton of more time to, get that extra lift in, get that recovery in. And as you get older, it's so much more important. And speaking of getting older, Diana Taurasi is at 41, 40, pushing 40. Is she 42?
I think 42. We could
40.
fact
Oh yeah.
check that. Don't quote us.
She just had a birthday. So she's 42, still killing it in the league. She's averaging
Yeah.
17 points a game, 36% from three. And that's just a testament to her longevity and her commitment to her health.
Right. I remember because I was at the Team USA practice when we were in Cleveland for the Final Four and she was talking about just what it like how is she able to sustain this? I think she just talked about being smart now with your body. Like you don't have to be in the gym for 3 hours shooting where it's all about quality now and I know we talked about this with one of our guests too. It's all about quality over quantity and I think that was one of the mistakes I made growing up is I wish I kind of honed into the quality more than just
in the gym on the gun shooting
Bro, I
forever.
was in the gym shooting like 600 shots. I'm like, I'm gonna be the best out here. But it's like at that point, you're just tired and you're not even focusing on your form. You're not focusing on being explosive. So I think that's a lot. And I think LeBron James may have said he spends like $500,000 a year on
Yeah,
recovery. I
a
mean, we
mil,
don't got that type of money, but
right?
listen, I think I
But
wish I
that's
also
what
took
it takes.
recovery.
But that's what it
And
takes. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
wish
So
I took recovery more serious. Sorry to all my coaches who said you should be getting an ice bath, and I didn't want to.
right.
So,
No, I completely agree.
speaking of being elite at that level, we talk about a little bit the elite players versus the good players. What separates them, especially at the next level, the WNBA college, you go from high school, college, whatever.
Yeah.
What would you say for post players?
Post players, I would say the versatility. Like the league, the NBA is shifting. I mean, like the NBA, that WNBA is shifting away from that like non-traditional post player, that back to
Mm,
the basket
yeah,
post player. If you want to keep up with the elites, um, they score at all three levels. They can take people off the dribble, shoot
yeah.
the three, score in the post, with the exception of probably 6'9" Brittany Griner. You know,
Facts.
posts are scoring at all three levels nowadays. Jonquel Jones is shooting threes like a guard, and Asia
Yeah,
Wilson is pulling step backs or whatever. So as the league continues to grow, and um, these, like Coach Tebow said, the middles versus the elites. Like these
yeah.
elites, the post players are getting more skilled. They're playing like guards. They're coming off the staggers. Um, so yeah, though I think that's the versatility of post players is what separates them from the middles to the elites. What do you think about the guards? How the
Mm,
guards
the
separate?
guards, I mean, I definitely agreed with Coach Steve. I think the consistency and wanting to continue to get better because I feel like sometimes I don't know, maybe I never thought like this, but I feel like there's players out there who probably think they're good enough and you don't need to keep continuing in consistency. But I think truthfully, as a guard, a point guard is the ability to think the game at the next level
Right.
and kind of seeing that second line of defense and almost seeing the play before it happens. Like, I remember just talking to a few players and being at their practices. They always say, is the ability to make a decision quickly. Like you literally have a split second to be like, am I going to attack the basket? Am I going to shoot? Or am I going to make this pass? And kind of being able to see that read, or if somebody's cutting off the ball, um, it's like almost seeing the play before it even happens. So I think that's the biggest thing is one, being able to think the game at a high level, and two, also being physical, right? Because the
Yeah.
WNBA is very physical and you're going against grown women. So I think you need to keep on building on that explosiveness, that strength. We talked about how Kelsey Plum had a tough time in the league when she first started because the physicality was a lot. Now
Mhm.
Caitlin Clark has also kind of experienced that, but also starting to find her way through. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
I would also add that like these guards are shot makers through the
Yeah.
physicality, through these like having to make 1 second decisions. They make shots efficiently.
Mhm.
So if you want to be an elite guard in the league, you got to be able to make shots
You
through
gotta be.
physicality. Through like you have to be a shot maker, not a shot taker. I know a ton of coaches say that, but it's hard to do in the WNBA.
That's such a good point too, because Mike Tebow did say that as well. Is like think about it in the league, everybody it's the best of the best. Everybody can handle the ball, get to the rim, do it, but how can you separate yourself is by efficiency. Like you got to be able to make shots. Like you can't just be kind of one dimensional of I
Exactly.
don't know, being the best passer or whatever. You got to be able to knock down an open shot. And we
Right.
talk about I hate those open shots.
Oh, completely. Those are the ones that get you. But earlier in the month, we had a ton of shot makers in a game. The Liberty versus the Connecticut Sun. I think it was an early sighting on a potential final series.
Yeah.
It was probably the best game all season so far. What did you see in that game?
I think first of all, I think for the Connecticut Sun, we always see balanced scoring, right?
Mhm.
From a lot of the players, but we didn't see that as much as the Liberty. Like for
Yeah.
Liberty, it was Benijah Lane and Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, Courtney Vandersloot, with the exception of Sabrina Ionescu struggling from the field. she was like 2 for 10 and 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. But other than that, and they shot 45% from the 3. Like
Yeah,
a team that plays defense and shoots the ball well, that is really tough to beat. But it is funny if you look at the game on paper, on stats, it was a pretty even matchup between rebounds, turnovers, all those types of things. But I think it just came down to the Liberty executing because
yeah,
I think the margin for error becomes so small. So it's how can you gain that edge? And I think the Liberty just were making a bunch of great plays.
yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'd also say that obviously Connecticut is still the best defensive team in the league. But
Yes.
I think the Liberty might have exposed a little bit of a matchup problem between them
Mm,
because Bree Jones is guarding Jonquel Jones, and Jonquel Jones just lit her up from three.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Bree Jones is not the most comfortable guarding outside the 3-point line.
That's a
And
good point. It makes her come out.
yeah, it makes her come out and she has to guard a lot of action that they run for her.
Yeah.
And Jonquel was able to hit a couple back-to-back threes late in the fourth quarter that created, I think, after she hit back-to-back threes, Jonquel Jones set a back screen for Sabrina, and Bree Jones was like, "I'm not leaving her." Like she
Yeah,
just hit
she's
back to
knocking him down.
right, and then Sabrina got a wide open layup at a crucial moment. So I think that that matchup problem is really interesting, and yeah. So they play each other again July 10th, and I'm curious to see if Stephanie White does something different on who guards who.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that should be interesting.
That also makes me think of, I don't know, like in college when you're this 3-point shooter wasn't on the scout and you're like, who the heck is this? Like,
Right.
and you're like,
You look at the bench like whoever scout it was like, come on now.
right, who she's a 3-point shooter now? Like, and then you can't leave her open. But yeah, that is such a great point you make with Bree Jones and Jonquel Jones. Wow, it kind of like mixed me up
Right,
for
right.
yeah, and I think also another thing I want to add is Dejanay Carrington. She had 17 of her points in that second half trying to bring this team back, but I think it's just still I just think the Liberty look it's so funny to me. With the Liberty, they either sometimes their offense looks discombobulated and there's not much flow,
I
and then
agree.
other times they look great. So I don't know. I think they're figuring it out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting their matchups later down the line as they both get better.
For sure. And then also, we got to talk about how Chelsea Gray returns for the Aces. We want to talk about how impactful is she going to be for this Aces team now?
I think extremely. That's the head of the snake for them. I know, obviously, Asia Wilson is their MVP and
Yeah,
Jackie Young probably their X factor, but Chelsea Gray is the head of the snake. She runs them. She knows exactly what shot they want to get at what a specific time, and I think she's going to make a huge difference for them going down the line. They needed her back badly. They were struggling a little bit. I think they
yeah,
were sitting at 500 in the win loss column. So I'm
yeah.
excited to see how she transforms this team, how maybe it takes the pressure a little bit off of Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum to not have to run the one, but just focus on scoring.
I agree. I think also with Jackie Young, I am curious to see is she going to be a little bit out of shape? Is the conditioning going to be a problem? Because obviously being out, from playing, you out you're out for 3 days. I feel like I'm out of shape, and basketball shape is not the same as anything else.
No, 100% agree. But, she's a pro. She knows how to,
Yeah,
prepare herself. I'm sure, like they said that she was possibly going to play in the last game. Maybe she didn't feel like she was ready
right.
condition wise or whatever. So,
One
yeah,
other thing that impresses me about Chelsea Gray is her passing ability. I just think she always makes a highlight reel off of her passes. And one of the things I want to say this to all young point guards out there and aspiring to play at the next level, the way I think it's so important to understand your teammates' game, right? What type of player they are, what type of shot are they good at, what they're not good at. And she just always puts her teammates in the best position to be successful because you could throw a pass and your teammate might fumble it and it's not the right place or she's not used to that position. I think she just understands
yeah,
her team so well and she's almost kind of like that glue. So I think it's only going to be a great addition, obviously,
yeah.
because she's
I know
just nasty.
Sammy Whitcomb talked about Sue Bird having that GOAT mind.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's the same as Chelsea Gray. She has that GOAT mind of knowing what shot to get, who's on the floor with her,
right.
what set to run for them. And yeah,
Another thing is, speaking of the Aces, is they are sold out all home games. So I think that is so important to talk about because the women's game is growing, and it's not just because of Caitlin Clark in Indiana Fever, right? I'm not discounting what she did. Caitlin Clark is bringing all the fans, but I think we almost thought it would be just Indiana Fever, right? And as they should be, but now it's also the Aces and it's a bunch of other teams. I think Atlanta Dream too.
yeah,
So that's amazing to see.
yeah, it's dope. When you have a back to back championship team, it's hard not to show up and want to go
Right.
watch them.
You have to. And I
Yeah,
feel like they have such a great front office too of like they really push that team forward and how they all got them money and all that stuff.
they're the standard. They're the standard for what every organization wants to be in the league. Them and I think the Liberty, New York Liberty, is up there. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, they're the standard. So hopefully, all teams in the league can get to a point where we're selling out every game. We got to move to bigger arenas.
let's
Uh,
go.
yeah, yeah. So, but one other player that I want to talk about before we leave is Angel Reese setting a record, rookie record, for 7 straight double doubles after last night's game. The only rookie to ever do it.
Yes. That is impressive. I'm happy for her because I think there was a lot of talk about how her game was going to translate at the next level. A lot of talk of, is she that good? And I think she is proving to be that good. And she is stepping into the role gracefully. And I think we've also talked about this before of just her playing for Teresa Weatherspoon. Like, who better to play for than somebody who instills that belief and confidence in you to play that the way she does? So
Yeah,
it's amazing, and I think she's just such a talented player all around.
yeah. Obviously, her skill set could improve the next couple years, but
For sure.
you can't teach grit and heart, and that's one thing
Mhm.
Angel Reese has. She's gonna go get that rebound every single time.
Right, and I feel like a lot of people think, like, rebounding is a skill. Like, it really comes down to how bad do you want it, and it comes down to heart, hustle, all that. Like, I know my coach always used to say, like, you could be the small sometimes there's the smallest guards out there who average 10 rebounds a game because
Right.
it's nothing to do with their height, but it's all about their heart and just being physical, and she's pursuing every basketball on the court.
Yeah. I think it's fun because obviously she set a record at LSU for the most double doubles
Yeah.
consistently. So now we're gonna watch the Liberty games. There's gonna be that ticker where it's like, oh, 9 rebounds. Like she needs
Yes.
one more.
Yes,
So
yes. Well,
yeah.
go Angel Reese. Keep balling out, sis, because you're killing it, and love to see the rookies doing well. To be honest,
Yeah. Another great week in the W, and looking forward to all the great games this upcoming week.
yeah.
Everyone tune in.
Thanks, guys.